Hey everybody, Kevin from Retired Road Tripping here. Lately in RV land, on a lot of the forums and the posts and videos, there's a lot of talk about personal safety. As far as what do you do to protect yourself living this nomadic RV life that we all do and we all love. And I want to talk to you guys for a couple minutes about your personal protection in RV life, traveling around the country, and if it's something that you're gonna do. First and foremost, for those of you guys that have been watching the channel for a while, you know I was a police officer for 30 years, retired a few years ago. So personal safety and protecting myself, Larica, and my friends and family is a very important thing to me. One thing that I see a lot of online is people talking about carrying firearms or any other personal protection items with them on the road, and that is completely fine. And if you know me, you know I am a big Second Amendment proponent. I've been carrying guns pretty much my entire adult life. One thing that I always notice in a lot of these videos is nobody talks about the actual firearm safety portion of it. Everybody says, oh, if you're going to have a gun, you know, be safe, you know, make sure you practice, know the laws. And yes, all of that is so important. But the thing that a lot of people forget is the actual firearm safety. If you are going to have a firearm with you in your RV as you're traveling around the country, do you know the safety rules? Are you practicing the safety rules? And are you keeping that weapon safe? So there are 4 firearm safety rules that are pretty much generic around the entire firearms community. Again, being a police officer for 30 years, I was one of our department's firearms instructors. I used to teach at the police academy. I taught in-service trainings, and at the beginning of every class, you always went over the 4 firearm safety rules to get them ingrained where you can just recite them by memory without even thinking about it. So I'm going to go over those with you real quick, and just so you have an idea as far as generalized good firearm safety, and then we'll talk about a couple other things here in a minute. All right, so firearm safety rule number 1, treat all guns as if they are loaded. Now, there's a lot of different versions of that rule as far as some wording. Different organizations word things different. Our police department that I worked for actually said rule number 1 is all guns are always loaded. Okay? What that means is if you treat every single gun as if it's loaded, the chances of an accident are going to diminish. Now, this is an old gun. I've been working with this all morning. I know it's unloaded, but I'm still going to treat it like it's a loaded gun. Make sure it is unloaded, check it, everything else. So, just because I know for a fact that this gun is unloaded, I'm still going to treat it as if it was a loaded gun just to be safe. Because the mindset behind that is if you treat all guns as if they're loaded, you're not going to make a mistake by putting a gun down somewhere and then a couple minutes later you're coming back and saying, oh, that's an unloaded gun, and then doing something that could possibly harm somebody. So if you treat all guns as if they are always loaded, we're going to have less of a chance of an accident. All right. Rule number 2 is never point a gun at anything you are not willing to destroy, purchase, or kill. All right? That means if you are in your house, in your RV, wherever you are, and you are doing something with your gun, don't sit there and point it at the dog or point it at your loved one or point it at somebody or something, you know, joking around or just not being smart because you think it's unloaded. Rule number 3, and this one drives me crazy watching TV and movies and everything else. Keep your finger off the trigger and along the side of the frame until you are on target and have made a conscious decision to fire. Okay? When you're watching TV shows and cop shows and, you know, military shows and all sorts of stuff, you will always see everybody running around with their finger on their trigger like this. Why? Because it makes good TV. That is not reality. Because of sympathetic reflex, if you trip, Your hands can squeeze, the gun can go off, and you're violating safety rules. If you were to ever watch real life police officers and military personnel doing real things, not television, you will always see officers, if they have their guns out of their holster, walking around like this, with their finger off the trigger. See, you can see right through the trigger there, off the trigger and on the frame. So if there's an accident and you squeeze and something happens, you're not going to hit that trigger. This is real life. This is the movies. If you are carrying a firearm and keeping one in your RV or in your home, you are living real life. Keep that finger off the trigger until you're made a conscious decision to fire and you're on target. All right, and rule number 4. Know your target, know the backstop and what's beyond it. What that means is, just because you know what your target is, and if you're going to shoot a target, you have to know what's behind it. Because for those people that are out target practicing, maybe go out into a desert or a wooded area and everything else, you may hit that target, but depending on, number one, what that target is made of, a bullet can go through it. If you miss your target, what's beyond it? Same thing with real life. If, God forbid, you ever have to use your firearm in a self-defense situation, know what is going on all around. So we used to do trainings in the police department all the time where you may have a suspect that you have to engage. However, a school bus may have just pulled up right behind the person and there's kids running around. If you miss or that bullet goes through something, what are the chances of hitting somebody innocent? You always have to know what's around your target, okay? Your surroundings and behind it, because if you miss, if a bullet goes through a target, what else is that bullet going to hit? Because once it leaves the barrel, bullet has no memory, no mindset. It's going to just keep going straight and you don't know what's going to happen. Right. So those are the 4 firearm safety rules. They are the same basic firearms rules for most all organizations, around the United States that I know of and possibly around the world. There are some wording differences, like I said earlier, depending on which organization you're part of. But basically, it is treat all firearms as if they're always loaded. Never point your firearm at anything you're not willing to destroy, purchase, or kill. Keep your finger off the trigger until you are on target and have made a conscious decision to fire. Know your target, backstop, beyond, and surroundings. If you follow all 4 of these firearm safety rules, the chances of an accident and the chances of an innocent person getting injured have been diminished greatly. All right, now, as far as carrying firearms around the country and what states can you carry them in, what can't you carry, what kind of gun, everything else, that's not something that I can answer for you, and that's not something that anybody online can really answer for you. You have to know, where are you going, what kind of vehicle, safes, do you have a safe, and what the rules are for each individual area that you're visiting. So your responsibility as a firearms owner is to know the rules, the laws, and the regulations in the communities and the areas that you're visiting. Again, that's not something that I can tell you and just give you a blanket. If you go here, you're safe. If you go here, you're breaking the law. As far as where are you going, what kind of firearms? There are some states that say you can have a gun, but it can't be loaded. There are some states that say your gun has to be in parts. The gun can be here, but your magazine with your bullets has to be somewhere else. There are states that say you can't have a loaded firearm, period. And there are those constitutional carry states that basically say, do what you want. Carry a gun, don't carry a gun, we don't care. So know the rules and regulations of the areas you're visiting, and just be safe, be safe, be safe when it comes to firearms. Again, safety is such an important thing. I can't harp on it enough. Always make sure you're safe. Now, obviously, if you have kids traveling with you, you have a whole nother set of issues as far as firearm safety, as far as keeping a weapon locked up, keeping it in a safe, trigger locked, unloaded. Whatever you have to do, always, always, always make sure that your weapons are safe if you're carrying them with you on the road. So Rick and I are going to go hit the range. Let's go check it out. So we're here at Get Some Guns and Ammo in Layton, Utah. I guess they've got 4 or 5 different locations around Utah, and so this is where we're shooting. Nice, clean indoor range, great staff, having some fun. And always remember, when you're out shooting, whether you're in an indoor range like this or you're outside, eye protection and ear protection. There you go. Oop. There you go.
Can feel a little shaky though.
Ooh, look at that. Same hole.
Well, no, you do feel it. It's very physical. Like you can feel it. And I need to do it more is what I need to do. Yeah. So I get more. So I remember my stance and all that. So when we first usually get here, I have to kind of relearn it all. And because I don't do it enough. And then when I get going, I think I do okay. You do want to know the steps because it is a gun, and you know you need to be responsible with it. So it is. I think I should make more of a point to go.
Yeah.
You know, and not that I say no. We just don't go as often as we should. So anyway, very cool, and I don't know. I do like it, but it is very fatiguing on your body.
All right, so there we are. 4 firearm safety rules. And then just a little bit of practicing. Make sure you've got your eye protection, ear protection at all times. And you've got to make that decision for you. If this is something that you're going to do and have a firearm with you in your RV, in your home, and carry it, you got to know those 4 safety rules and you got to practice.
Yeah, I feel like you got to be familiar.
Yes, absolutely. All your adults in your household need to be familiar. And then even if you've got kids, you need to start getting them familiar at a young age. You know, don't make this be one of those things where a kid's going to find it and they don't even know what it is. You've got to start the education early. And online there is a ton of different resources that you can use to start teaching kids about guns at an early age.
Gun safety.
Yes. And if you're not comfortable with firearms, you know, look online, look at your local NRA instructors, go to one of your local indoor ranges. Almost all of them have instructors and they do lessons. Learn the right way. Learn from an actual qualified instructor, you know, maybe not just Uncle Bill that's had guns his whole life. Make sure you learn proper gun safety from an actual experienced instructor. All right, so I hope these 4 firearm safety rules helped you. Again, this is not a where shouldn't you carry everything else. This is just your basic firearm safety rule. If you have one of these with you in your RV, you need to know the 4 safety rules. Please remember them, rewind this. I'll even list all 4 of them down in the description below. Everybody in your household where there's a firearm, you guys should all know these firearm safety rules.